Welcome to the Lawless Astrology channel. My name is Dabney Lawless and I'm an evolutionary astrologer. Today, in this video, we're going to be looking at the October 2nd lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. And we're going to be looking at the role that other planets are playing, including the square from Mars to Cancer to the nodes ahead of this lunar eclipse. So if that's content you're interested in, I hope you stick around. What we do on this channel is we look at how the planetary energy up in the sky can help us down here on planet Earth live a more peaceful, conscious life. So if you watched my last video, you will know that I talked about the Pisces lunar eclipse, and that was a full moon lunar eclipse. And that was on September 17th, I believe. That one had a lot to do with things being revealed and you heading into the future, even though the future is not here yet. And so it was kind of about getting glimpses of where you need to get back on the right track and where you need to get back on the path. So the time in between eclipses is very active. So when you're in eclipse season, just because that eclipse ended didn't mean the process that you're going through has ended. And so as we head into this new moon solar eclipse, it's going to be a very different energy, but it's building upon what has been revealed or what you've been working on since that mid-September timeframe. Or even a little before, right? So, eclipses, just a quick review, eclipses get us back on our path. They are kind of wild cards. They're hard to predict exactly how something will manifest or come into our lives, but we can kind of look to the planets that they're in, the aspects that they make, and the house it is in for you to kind of give you some themes and an understanding of what might be up for you and how you can most consciously work with it. This eclipse is a new moon, and it is in the sign of Libra, so it is the moon and the sun conjunct the south node in the sign of Libra. It's also conjunct Mercury, so I'll have something to say about all of that. But this is an important one because it's kind of like a series, right? So this is the last eclipse in the north node, south node, Aries, Libra dichotomy. So building off of, so this is eclipse season, right? And so on September 17th, we had the lunar eclipse in Pisces. And I did a video about that where I talked about the opportunity there was for us to kind of meditate and breathe and get some clarity on our future, but to kind of know that we're not in the future yet. We can sort of see what's coming, but it's still a little foggy. And so there was kind of like an opportunity if you tuned in enough to get glimpses of where you need to go. Okay. And so during this time in general, it's felt a little bit like a pressure cooker, I think, for most people. So how like a pressure cooker, all of the outer planets right now are in the final degrees of their signs that they're currently in before they go into new signs. This is very unusual in our lifetime. And so having these outer planets in these last degrees, all three of them, it's kind of like, we've talked about it being like a finishing up of old business, but also at the same time, there's kind of like this pressure building. And so it's kind of building and building and building. And these eclipses are a part of that story. Because as we get into January of next year, we're going to have new lunar nodes. And so this is all kind of part of like when things start to flip over coming in 2025 and into 2026 and beyond. And so it's kind of like the pressure cooker is just, it's getting more and more filled and like the whistle's kind of starting to go off. And we only have a few more months of this pressure building before like there is like, the release where like, but when you do the release on the pressure cooker, it still is like kind of like a violent reaction. There's still like a lot of energy built up, but right now the energy's trapped and it's still kind of building. So this is the next piece of the puzzle, the story. So the next piece of the story that we're working through in September has to do with Mars being in the sign of Cancer and squaring this Aries Libra nodal axis. Okay, I did a whole video on Mars and Cancer, which actually is, I think, really interesting and important right now. And if you want to check that out, it's actually on Nadia Shah's channel, and I'll link to it below here. So I was a guest on her channel. So I go through all of the signs if you're interested in a little bit more information on Mars and Cancer. But this is a part of the story as we lead into the eclipse on October 2nd. So mid-September, after we're feeling it now, after the Pisces lunar eclipse, we have Mars in Cancer squaring the nodes. Okay, what does this mean? Mars in Cancer. Mars is our action, our assertion, warrior archetype, courage archetype. Where do we need to find courage? Cancer is nurturing and mother and the feminine, and it is a mother's love and a mother's protection. It's also like raw emotions. You know, if you think of like a baby, Mars in Cancer is like a baby coming into this world and asserting itself to get its needs met. And so the high side of Mars in Cancer is protection and nurturing and love, and like kind of like mama bear gonna protect those cubs at all costs. You know, like who is the one in charge here? That is mama. And you respect mama because she's got it going on, okay? The low side, though, is like not being in touch with your anger, but feeling the raw emotion. And so that can either get repressed and sublimated, and oh, everything's fine. Oh, I'm just as happy as can be. But you're really seething inside. You may not even be aware of it, right? Or it can just be rage and yelling and throwing and like temper tantrum, right? So that's the stuff we want to avoid, is we want to avoid the low side. What we want to do is get in touch with our healthy emotional anger. And sort of, you know, Mars doesn't like to be in Cancer because Mars likes to be powerful and assertive, and Cancer likes things soft and sweet and nurturing and to feel our feels. Well, when you feel your feels with like Mars, that means anger. That means like, how do I get in touch with anger in a healthy way? And in most humans don't have great coping mechanisms for anger. You know, it's hard because we're taught that anger is bad, but anger is necessary sometimes. And so, you know, if you are somebody and you know what your temper is like, I know my temper, my moon and Mars are conjunct, so I have a flare. I flare and then I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. And I calm down. Okay, I shouldn't have gotten so upset. I'm so sorry. You know, anger embarrasses me. I get embarrassed by my anger. My Mars, my natal Mars is in Leo. So it's dramatic and big. And then it's like, oh, what have I done? Because my moon is in Virgo. Okay. So what is your anger archetype? How do you process it? Are you someone, oh, I don't get angry. No, I don't get angry. No, I'm not angry. Okay, maybe. Or are you like a rager? Like you yell at people, you snap at them, you're mean to them, or like, and then, you know, like what is your way you handle anger? This is a good time to look at it because the anger has something to teach you. Why are you angry? What's made you angry? Is it anger at somebody? Is it anger at yourself? What is the anger about? How do you process it in a healthy way? How can you have the emotional maturity to communicate your needs so that, you know, people don't walk all over you? Like, it's not okay. Don't treat me that way. Or, wow, that's not cool. You cheated on me. Yeah, I'm angry. I have a right to be angry. You know, you just said something really mean to me. Wow. How do you handle that in a way that is emotionally mature and gets your needs met? And so it's squaring these nodes right now. So there's something karmic going on. It can also have to do with your mother? What was your relationship with your mother? Are you angry at your mother? There's some work there that needs to be done. This is a good time to do it. Is there something in your ancestral lineage that you need to break free from, where you need to process it in a new way and step into your emotionally mature self? One of the things that you can do during this time is kind of some inner child work, if you've ever heard of that. That's sort of like where you recognize where you were hurt as a child. And you kind of realize like, wow, that was not cool what happened to me, and I have a right to be angry. But do I have a right to be angry the way I'm being angry? Like, is the anger being taken out in the wrong places, right? So sometimes you see that a lot, where someone is angry, but they don't really know what they're really angry about, because anger is fear. So what are you afraid of? And fear, especially for men, is very taboo. So then you get a lot of anger sometimes. So this is a piece of it. And I don't want you to work on other people. I want you to work on you. Okay? So that's a big theme right now, is this has to do with you. Everything that I'm saying in this video is about you and only you, because we can't change other people. So the next piece of this puzzle I'm going to talk about is actually the eclipse. So the eclipse happened on October 2nd. I think I've got 11:48 a.m. Pacific time, so 3 hours later. So that's the exact time. But we're feeling it all month long. We're in these eclipses, and like there's gonna have repercussions. There's gonna be like unfolding of this story. But this is just part of that like pressure cooker that we're under right now. And this is part of the story about how to handle this consciously and how to find a little bit more peace during this time. That's what these videos are all about. So in the sign of Libra, we've got the sun and the moon right next to each other in the sky. So it's a new moon. So typically new moons are a time where we plant seeds, but it's conjunct the south node. So the cool thing about this one is it's about releasing the past and releasing what's no longer serving us so we can plant these seeds, so we can move forward. So it's a next piece of like moving forward. The last eclipse, there wasn't a lot of like forward momentum. It was about reveals. It was about emotions. It was about sitting in your emotions and like kind of internalizing what do I need to do here? What's not working for me anymore? Where do I want to go? This one, it's a little more action oriented. It's kind of like, oh, things are starting to happen now. Like we're on our path. Like eclipses get us back on the path, right? So the first one handled correctly got you back on your path a little bit. This one, take you further down the road. Okay, so this one, we have Mercury there. Mercury, it's all about communication. Mercury is going to be supporting us in this time. Okay, so it's a good time to recognize that you're going to have to communicate at some point during this eclipse season what your needs are. So what are we leaving behind? We are leaving behind a pattern of wanting to please people at all costs. Every human on this earth wants to be loved. It's what the primary objective of everything that we do that isn't about just getting food and breathing air and drinking water. We want love. You know, after the basic needs of the shelter and the, whatever the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, love is a big one. And most of the emotional things that we do are coping mechanisms to get love. How have we sacrificed ourselves to get love? What have we put on the line? Where are we out of balance internally so that we have someone else's approval and love? What are we willing to sacrifice? How much have we sacrificed ourselves to be loved versus finding our own path to love, not looking to others to fulfill us? Not an easy task. So don't want to make it seem like, oh, why don't you just do that? It's a lifelong thing. But this eclipse is here to support us with helping us understand where we're out of balance and releasing it. So I think that the last one really was the one about helping us figure out where we're out of balance. So emotions were running high. Sorry, I jiggled the thing. Emotions were running high the past few weeks, I think. They have been in my life. And you know, this Mars situation, the Mars that I was just talking about squaring the nodes, like, where have you felt either exhausted and depressed, because that's anger turned inward, sublimated, or where have you just like been losing your temper and you're just mad? I'm just mad at everybody. I'm mad at the news. I'm mad at my husband. I'm mad at the dog. Whatever, right? Mad at my neighbor. Ugh, my neighbor has a Cybertruck. I mean, come on, really? I mean, anyway, I digress. And if you have a Cybertruck, feel free to not watch my channel. Totally good with that, by the way. My neighbor's not watching this channel, I promise. Okay, back on topic. So, where are we giving away our power? It's so like cliche. Where are we giving away our power? Let's talk about what that means, okay? Okay, have you heard of the term codependence? I hadn't heard of it until I was in my late 20s. I think it's very much like everybody knows what that means now, but if not, I'm going to tell you. It means where you're trying to please somebody else. And it's kind of like you're an overgiver, but like you're overgiving because you get something out of it. You may not really get something out of it, but you think you are. And usually overgivers, codependent people, attract overtakers. So if your relationship is out of balance, how do we get it back in balance? Well, it's all about you. So I've noticed in my lifetime, when I come to realize the mistakes I'm making, where I'm overgiving, or where I have become, frankly, codependent, and I'm trying to control a situation because I want love from this person. I want their approval. I want their acceptance. Anytime I have taken the risk to express what I know that I'm doing and where I feel like I'm off balance and where I may need them to reciprocate. And, you know, I'm just asking for my needs to also be met. It's usually been the end of the relationship. And so that's where this eclipse comes in, is once you are aware of these patterns, when you are doing something that is no longer serving you in a relationship, when you become aware of it and you start to ask for your needs to be met, if it is a healthy relationship, that person will be there for you. That person will, meet you halfway. That's the Libra balance. But if that person is not capable of meeting you halfway, because ultimately they like it, they like it out of balance because it oftentimes works in their favor, then the relationship may not survive. And so this could be friendships, this could be partnerships, this could be marriage, this could be, even relationships with your parents or your children. So this is a time to recognize that you're going to have to get your emotional needs met. You're going to have to be in right relationship with people. Otherwise, it's not going to be serving your higher good. And things are going to start to fall away. There's a lot of support with this particular eclipse from that Mars in Cancer. It is making a trine to Venus in Scorpio and Saturn in Pisces. So there's emotional support for you. So Venus in Scorpio is the ruler of this eclipse. So Libra is ruling Venus, or Venus is ruled by Libra, and Venus is in Scorpio. See, that's where people get confused with astrology, but just trust me on this one. Venus in Scorpio is going to shine a light on things. It's going to be healing energy. It's like, where in our partnership do we need to go a little deeper? Where are we not, secrets will be revealed if they need to be. Venus has got your back on this one. Also, a lot of astrologers are talking about Black Moon Lilith being up there with the south node of the moon. I don't work too much with Black Moon Lilith, so I don't really want to bring her into this, but just know that there's kind of like a healing female archetype thing going on here with the Scorpio Venus and the Pisces in Saturn and Pisces, and that Mars in Cancer. So Saturn and Pisces, as we've talked about over the past few months, is about healthy surrender and release with boundaries. Like, how can you release what is no longer serving you? in a healthy way with boundaries. And, I always call it the hard work of surrender, right? That's part of this. It's like, where do we need to surrender to something bigger than ourselves and just say, like, this isn't working. I'm out of balance. I'm unhappy. And just believe that this relationship will still be in your life. It will be a relationship you need to take into the future if you get back in balance. And they're there for you. I can't tell you, my husband and I have had countless, discussions about things out of balance, and it gets back in balance, But then I have past relationships, I have friendships, I have family where things are out of balance. And like when I'm like, whoa, I'm out of balance. I'm trying to give you too much and it's kind of controlling and I got to stop. And like, I'm trying to get something from you. I'm trying to get my needs met and it's not working. Hey, can you help me with this? Like maybe you can blah, blah, blah. It just ends. Right? This is not the right relationship to take into the future. And that's what this is all about. So Mars in Cancer, healthy boundaries, emotions, maturity, really feeling your feelings, allowing yourself to be angry, allowing yourself to feel hurt and process it. It's also, Venus in Scorpio, it's like the detective, like ask yourself questions about where things are out of balance. So there's a lot of emotional support here. Also Mercury in Libra conjunct all these planets is saying journal. If you're really into doing ceremonies around these new moon eclipses, I would say do it solo. Pick a card, pick a tarot card or journal. Like this is not a time for like drastic action. This is a time for self-reflection and know that if drastic action happens and it comes into your life, it's what was needed. It's for your higher good. Eclipses get us back on the path. If you're already on the path, this one's going to get you further down the road, like I said. But if you maybe this eclipse might be pretty mellow for you. It really depends on where it is in your chart and what other aspects are going on. But if you're watching this, food for thought. What relationships need to be released? Where are you playing too nice? Where are you just trying to give everyone what they want and letting your own needs be sacrificed? This is the time to step away from that, because what you're going to want to do during this time is assert yourself in a healthy, emotionally mature way. So that is this eclipse in October. If you're interested in a little bit more of the collective, what's going on with this eclipse, I am going to be on Sybil Harmony's channel as well. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the collective and like the political implications. But for this particular video, I just wanted to talk about the ways in which we need to take care of ourselves. This is all about stepping into a position of authority where you are feeling respected and courageous and like ready to put the past behind you if it needs to be. So as always, there is a reason and a season for it all, and the universe is conspiring to help us, and this eclipse is just another example of that. So also, as always, please like and subscribe to this channel. Comment below how the past few weeks have been for you. I'm so grateful for every single comment I get, every single like, every single share. It really does help with the algorithm. And yeah, these videos are something I'm enjoying doing, but I also hope that they bring something positive into your life. So until next time, stargazers, have a good one.